Do you ever feel like that saying, everyone has the same amount of hours in the day, doesn't apply to you? Because we all have 24 hours in our day, obviously. That's the hard facts. But not all of us are using them the same way, right? So somebody that has 5 kids, for example, doesn't have all those hours in their day compared to a single person or something like that, right? So maybe you think because you have kids or obligations or 2 jobs or whatever it is, caring for a disabled parent, whatever, that doesn't apply to you. It's easier for everyone else, but you don't understand that I have these situations. And I'm here to say to you that that is an excuse, and it is an excuse that is only harming you. It's not giving you a safety cushion to feel good about. It's not serving you in any way whatsoever. And you might say, well, that's just the cold, hard reality. And then I would come back at you and I would say, it might be the cold, hard reality, but the cold, hard reality is there are pockets of time that you can intentionally create regardless of your situation. And I'm talking if you only have a few minutes to spare here and there, you can find time. So in this video, I just wanted to give you a couple quick tips on creating time, not finding time. I misspoke there, because you're never going to find time. Time is kind of like money. If you don't give it a job, it's going to take on its own life and it's going to be gone. It's going to be out before you notice it. And one of the things that I have found so helpful is realizing that I truly have to control and manage my time. And I have friends all over the board. I have some super laid back friends who are like unschoolers. They just fly by the seat of their pants, sleep till noon, whatever. And then I have friends on the other spectrum who are super duper rigid and they get up at this time every day. They start breakfast at this time. They have school at this time, certain classes. And there's everything in between. And we're kind of like those in-betweeners where I don't like having a super rigid schedule because I know I'm going to fall behind. That's just how I roll, how my personality is. I like to be a little more relaxed. And when I do fall behind, then I start feeling bad about it, right? So not having a super rigid schedule works for us. You have to find what works for you is step 1. Step 2 is figure out something within that schedule that you can modify. So maybe it's that you need to get up earlier. Maybe it's you need to go to bed later or earlier, depending if you're getting up earlier. Maybe it's that you need to stop scrolling on your phone so much. If you don't believe me and you think I hardly ever scroll on my phone, go into your settings, go into screen time, and I guarantee you will be shocked at how much time you spend on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, whatever your chosen, YouTube, podcasts, whatever. And it's okay. For me, I do listen to a lot of audiobooks, podcasts, but I do it while I'm driving or while I'm cooking dinner. I try to double task. I've severely cut down on my social media time in the past couple of years because I noticed it was getting out of hand and I didn't even realize it was getting out of hand. So check into that if you think that you don't have any extra time that you can modify into a time block to serve you. So once you do that, once you figure out where your time is going, you might need to even journal it for a while to really see where it's going, because it could be going on putting out small fires, which is another point that I think is really valid to make. A lot of times I find myself, even now, throughout the day, putting out small fires. And what do I mean by that? Well, thankfully, there have been no real fires, except that one time my daughter made mac and cheese in the microwave a couple of years ago, and she forgot to add water. But we're not going to talk about that. Small fires are little distractions, and they always come, and especially if you have a big project coming that you're trying to finish, or you're getting close to finishing, or if you're doing something really dialed into your calling, resistance is going to show up as small fires, little distractions. And resistance shows up in so many ways, but this is one of them, and it's such a sneaky way, because especially the busier you are. So if you are a busy mom and you have kids and you have homeschooling and you have just all these gears moving that you're involved in, right? And you're trying to write a book, or you're trying to start that ministry, or you're trying to get your small business off the ground, you're going to have so much resistance because of this. Anytime you push in and dial into something meaningful, you are going to have an insane amount of resistance, because thieves don't break into empty houses. You're going to have resistance pushing back at you the harder you try, and the bigger the resistance is going to be. Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art describes it like this: the more important and big your calling is, think of it as a tree, the bigger the shadow is going to be, which is the resistance. So if you think about it that way, it really changes your perspective on things, because it means that what you're doing is super important and super valuable and super valid, right? So use that as encouragement rather than discouragement or defeat. So just press into that and try to get around those little distractions. You sit down to write a book, and all of a sudden the kids are screaming and fighting. The phone is ringing. You're getting texts here and there. Dinner's burning on the stove. I don't know. You have to schedule your day and schedule things in a way that they will work with you, not against you. And it's easier said than done. But I have a free PDF called The Actual Practicals, and it's like super short and easily digestible. And I just made it to help myself see what I could do on a day-to-day basis, because I was like swirling in my head. And you can download it. I'll put the free description I'll put the link in the description. But it just helps you get clarity on these little things that maybe you didn't even think of. There were things I didn't even think of until I actually sat down and looked at my time and where it was going. So things like start dinner stupid early in the morning. A lot of times I'm like, oh, I'll start dinner at 3. That way it'll be ready by 6. But then I feel like I'm in the kitchen from 2:30 all the way till 7 after cleaning up for dinner. And that's almost my entire evening. So instead, I try to start dinner in the morning while I'm making breakfast, because I'm already in the kitchen. I'm already doing stuff. That way I can have it cooking while breakfast is cooking, while I'm cleaning up after breakfast, while I'm doing the dishwasher, whatever, doing other tasks. And it just seems a lot more manageable that way, and I can get things done in a chunk. There's a lot of little tips like that, but that's just one of them. And you have to do what works for you. Delegating with your children is another really great tip. Children love to help, especially if they know why. Especially if you put them on a mission and you tell them that there's a clear and concise goal. Children love to be a part of stuff like that. They love to know that they are a part of something bigger than themselves. They're just like us. They're just like mini versions of us, right? But they need direction, or they're going to wander aimlessly around and their time is going to be shot as well. And if you can get those couple things understood and start implementing them, you're going to be able to find time. And it might not be a ton of time at first, but any time is better than no time. And just be thankful to God for that, and just keep pressing forward, keep trying. And before you know it, you're going to be able to start working towards these goals. And once you start working towards these goals, you'll be able to maybe hire a VA. And it's way cheaper than you think, actually. I just hired a VA a couple weeks ago. And my husband kind of thought I was crazy. He's like, why are you hiring a VA already? And I'm like, well, not already, because it's been years in the making, but why are you hiring a VA at this point, he's saying, in my journey. And the reason was, I heard someone say, if hiring someone is not going to cost you money, it's going to make you money. So I decided to test out that theory. And I have her really helping with my socials, just getting everything in order, my scheduling, just so I can be more consistent showing up online, and just take a lot of back end work that I really didn't enjoy or I really wasn't good at off of my plate. Because a lot of times we spend a lot of time trying to get better at things that we're not good at. And I feel like we learned this as children and in school. If you have a weak, you'll have weaknesses and strengths. We were always told to work on our weaknesses, right? And of course, if it's a character flaw or something like that, yes, you should work on your weaknesses. But if it's something that you're just not good at and you really don't enjoy learning about, hire out, delegate. For me, first thing I'm hiring out once I make it big is laundry. Sorry, but I despise laundry. I always tell the Lord when I'm doing laundry, thank you so much for these clothes to put on my family. Thank you. But I hate laundry. And I can't help it. I hate laundry. I don't know what it is. I'm fine with dishes. I'm fine with other housework, but laundry is the bane of my existence. Hiring it out as soon as I can. But in practical terms, like business terms, if you are trying to set up your website and you've literally spent hours and hours and hours just spinning your wheels trying to just get an image to hook to the top of your page for your banners, how much time did you waste? How much time could you have spent doing something else that could have been way higher ROI, way more productive, brought more joy to you, moved the needle further? So think of those things and see if maybe you can barter with someone if you don't have the financial means to hire someone right now. There's people who are willing to help. Post on your social media, post somewhere, and just say within your friend circle or whatever, and say, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Does anyone have experience in this area? And you can maybe knock it out in an hour where it would take me 10 or 20. And offer them something too. Like, you can use this in your portfolio, or I'll make you lunch, or I'll buy you a coffee, or I'll watch your kids, or whatever it is. You can barter, you can figure things out, you can delegate. There's lots of ways. You just have to really get creative. The ultimate resource, time is a resource, right? Money's all these things are resources. But above all of those, the ultimate resource is resourcefulness. Tony Robbins said that. I don't know if that he coined the term or not. But the ultimate resource is resourcefulness. It's being resourceful and knowing where to find things, knowing how to find things, knowing how to create movement, how to move the needle in the direction you want it to go rather than just sitting there and spinning your wheels endlessly. So hopefully this was helpful for you. If you know another mom that it would help, please share this with her, and I will see you next time. God bless.